Okay, fine. So in our previous class, we understood something about like what Pega is doing, right? And we finalized Pega used for developing web applications. And then we modified our statement saying like Pega is used for developing internal applications, right? So in each and every organization, there might be multiple internal applications to be developed, say credit card, say loans, say accounts, likewise. So in order to manage all these internal applications, there will be separate frameworks to be maintained. And technically, we call this as implementation applications. And we call this as what? Framework applications. So in my structure, so there can be multiple framework applications also. So finally, Pega is recommending us to have at least one framework so that it will be easy for us to in future to expand it. So few clients, maybe if they can afford the budget, so they can purchase this available frameworks even from Pega. So Pega systems, what they're trying to do, they're trying to design this Pega product. So client will purchase that Pega product. And additionally, after purchasing it to design something, I need not to again from beginning also. So I can even purchase frameworks also. So the frameworks, whatever Pega has already created, what we technically call this? Tell me online people. Last class I told you, if something Pega is already predefining that, and if we are using it, what we technically call this? Anyone?
OOTP.
OOTP.
It is OOTP. What is full form of that?
Out of the box.
Out
Out
of the
of.
box.
Okay. So here Pega is one OOTP product which is predefined. So as a client, I'm taking that product license. Additionally, I wanted to design something, and out of all these things, I feel something to be like maintained with framework kabatti. So we can purchase OOTP frameworks also. Okay, so this as a whole, we call it as organization structure. Okay, so last class we clearly understood how your organization structure to be designed, and within organization structure how your application structure to be designed, everything we have seen. Okay, fine. After you joining one company, say this is your city client where they might be having one main framework linked with something like banking framework and then insurance framework, where they might be having one credit card application, loan application, say accounts, and maybe here medical insurance, property insurance, likewise unaccounted. After you joining some company, so you will not be directly joining anywhere as the into the client product. So mostly you will be joining in some service-based companies, say TCS. After you joining here, maybe you will be kept on bench for 1 week or 10 days. Then you'll be mapped to the client, right? So here you as a developer should start working on the client requirements. Remember, you will be given requirement to work on implementations only. So today, after you joining company, so they might ask you to design some UI screens, or they might ask you to design some backend logic for that, or maybe some backend or database related part or reporting part, whatever it is, your daily requirements will be based on developing some implementation applications only. In that process, if you feel something as reusable, you have to choose creating it in the framework 1 or framework 2. So you will not get any direct requirement to do something in the frameworks. So you will be every time logging into respect to implementations and proceeding further. Okay, fine. So how to log in or how to proceed on time? So day one, your manager, after you assigning to the some client, so you are supposed to log in into their servers and you have to proceed further, right? So this is the first screen what you have to get. So after you getting this screen, you are supposed to log in with some ID and password, then only you should proceed further, right? So first of all, how are we getting this login screen? In our personal edition, how are we getting it? Maybe after you joining some company, there after you getting your laptop, how will you get this screen? This is what you have to know. Now, as I told you, till 8.7 version of Pega. Okay, so Pega is having some series of versions defined. So I'll talk about this version sequence maybe in some time today itself or maybe tomorrow. Okay, so till some version of Pega, till some version range, Pega has given us something like a software to be downloaded on our own in our personal laptop. And even for that, internet is not required, meaning after you downloading just to manage the other things, internet, some in some scenarios we require, mostly we don't require internet also. So in order to download this software, so you will be given with one drive link. Okay, so even last day, Friday or Saturday, you guys got something like download drive link also. If you did not get, drop a message to us. So where this will be almost like 4.5 GB of space. So you are supposed to be connected to internet. You have to download this file. After that, you have to extract and you have to proceed further. For this, a complete video also will be shared. It is anyway shared. If not, I'll share it again. So how to download it? What is your step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, whatever it is from starting till end. So there will be almost like 30 minute to 1 hour procedure. So this generally you guys can do and you will generally do it. Maybe if you are facing any problem in between these installation steps, feel free to call us. We'll take screen share and we'll fix it. So ultimately we are supposed to get this login screen. Background, there will be something like server running out, and based on this server, this URL will be generated, and finally you'll get this login page. Okay. And for this, there will be something like laptop requirements, laptop specifications also. Make sure your laptop must be like Windows supporting only. So if you are using any other operating system related laptop, it will not work out. It will support only Windows. So Windows 10 or 11, it will be very good. Maybe if it has like past Windows versions also, not a problem. So mostly Windows 10 or 11 is strongly recommended. And the laptop, whatever you are using, make sure it is of 64-bit operating system. 99% it will be 64-bit only. You need not look anything inside that. And make sure your laptop must be having minimum of 8 GB RAM capacity. So if you guys are having something like 4 GB, then make sure you get it upgraded to minimum of 8 GB. So maybe recently purchased laptops from past 3 years or 4 years. So every default specification will be supporting. You need not think anything about that. So once these basic specifications are there, you start this procedure. Maybe after 1 hour, you should get this background black color command prompt running out. So this is nothing but a server. Once our server is up and running, this URL will be generated. And if I paste this URL in some browser, I'll get this Pega login page. Okay, so this is what you have to know. Okay, now if I simply copy this URL and send it to you in WhatsApp, and if you paste it in your browser, do you really think that you'll be getting this page? Tell me, online people. I'm simply giving you this URL in your laptop, no installation, nothing is done. If I simply give you this URL, do you really think this Pega page showing out for you? Say yes or no for this? Japan
No,
online people?
no,
No, right?
No,
No. No. So you are supposed to do something like laptop setup in your maybe server setup in your laptop also. So till here, whatever we are doing it, so installation step that is individually. So till here is what we have to take manually. After this, maybe after this is done. So real time, everything will be same. So in real time, what we'll do is generally day one, or I'll ask you one more thing. So this URL, after I copying it, if I'm pasting it in the different browser, say if I'm opening incognito mode, or if I open something like Opera, or if I open something like Firefox, the same URL, if I paste in my laptop of different browser, will it work? Yes or no? The same URL in different browser of my same laptop. Will I get this blue color login page or not? Shepali.
Yes, good.
Yes, right? You should get it. So what are we understanding? So this URL is working in my laptop range. Am I correct? So in my laptop range, there might be different requesters, meaning different browsers. So maybe I can access from browser one, nothing but requester number one, browser two, browser three. So in this kind of server range, this URL will work out everywhere. Exactly in the real time also, this will happen with some different approach. Say after you join one company today, so day one, you will be given with your laptop, right? Your manager will give you one laptop. So don't go to your manager and ask anything about installation. You should not say anything like that. This laptop is Windows, this is not Windows supported, where I'm having only 4 GB RAM. What version of Pega I have to download? So where I have to install? You should not talk anything about installation. If you talk anything about installation, then they'll straight away ask you, are you really experienced guy or not? So finally, my point here is installation process, what we are doing, it is confined to our personal edition only. But in the real time, installation process will not be there. So what will happen is, say city is the client somewhere in USA location. City wanted to develop their credit card application and other things, right? So what they will do, they'll first reach to Pega Systems team, and whatever the product they have already prepared, they'll purchase it. So meaning they are taking Pega license now. And at that location, there will be one network team, right? So they will try to install the software manually, what we are doing it now. So one URL will be generated, and this particular URL who are in that server range. Server range meaning, so I might be part of TCS from Hyderabad. You might be part of Accenture team, maybe from Australia. We all are working collectively for a single client. So day one, maybe my TCS will interview me and they will hire me, and they'll assign me to the respective client, and I'll be getting some laptop maybe from client level or maybe my company level, and I have to get into my client server range connected to a VPN or ping ID or whatever it is. Once I enter into this server range, the URL, whatever it is running out, it will be accessible for every one of us. Meaning at this client server range, I have to enter. Just similarly, the server, whatever you are currently looking at, it is working in my laptop range, right? I can access this URL. I can access this URL from any part of this laptop range. Similarly, the URL generated from the client level, it can be accessible from any part of this server range. So we will be first connecting to the client network. That's it. So day one, after you entering, after joining some company, you have to ask your manager about this development URL. You should not talk anything about like installation prospective. Only thing, please share the URL. So once they're sharing this URL, maybe if you hit it in any browser, you'll be getting this Pega login page. Understood, right? From here, everything will be set. So in personal edition, whatever we are learning for the next 4 months, and in the office related edition, both are same from this point. But prior installation concept will be little different in personal as well as in the enterprise edition. Okay, so finally day one you have to ask for this URL. And here this URL currently it is showing it as localhost, right? But in the real time you might see it as city dev or city QA or city prod, whatever it is. Something little changes is what you'll see in your entire URL. Rest everything will be same. Okay, so after you getting this login page, the very first request developer consider. So this is like day one. where my client has purchased this Pega license and this installation is done. As a developer, I am supposed to design this credit card application. So generally, after I designing this complete in terms of screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, next testing team will test it. Then next real users will be testing it. And finally, a production guys should work out, right? So if I'm a bank employee joining into a production server, consider I'm an original bank employee. Even I will be given the same URL. So with this URL, I might be getting this main login page. If I log in, so I'm supposed to next proceed with my registration of credit card customers. So in this process, whatever the login page I am seeing now, if I see something like Pega as one logo, as an credit card employee, as an Citibank employee, what I'll understand here? So I'll get it out what this Pega is, right? So I should see something like city logo. Okay. So here from client prospect to the very first requirement here is about modifying this Pega login page. So this login page, I have to customize it. I should not show this Pega logo. I should not show this flying horse. I should not show this blue color. Maybe if it is like city client, mostly they will be having like white and red color combination. So they might be having something like city logo with something like background colors changed with something like username and password showing side by side or both sticking to some right corner and something like login. So how to customize this login page is what we have to first understand. Okay, maybe in this process of customization, so you can change anything UI styling part, but you should not remove this login button. So I can change color of this login button. I can change the label. Instead of login, I can go for something like submit button, whatever it is. But removing this button completely and including a different button and adding some actions on clicking of this, it will be very difficult. Why? Because if I'm trying to enter something ID and password, if I click on login, so background system should check whether this is valid ID and valid password or not. Meaning on click of this button, it is checking for this reference in somewhere backend, right? Backend can be a database table or backend can be sent to a third party application from their redirection, whatever it is. So this login button is very, very important. So maybe if I remove this login button in the process of customization, if I take my own button, maybe on click, what you will do? On click, you have to write your own Java logic. Maybe you have to write your own SQL queries to hit the table. So, or you have to write your own backend connector or web service logic. So, which is very difficult. So, as part of customization, the only restriction is not to make modifications for this button. Rest everything can be modified. Okay. Fine. So we'll understand how to customize this Pega login page also. Okay. And by the way, day one, who will log in into this Sunday? First, a developer has to log in. He might modify this login page and then he will be creating maybe framework applications and implementation applications. And he will design maybe credit card application in terms of UI pack and everything. So once this development is done, next what generally happens, testing should be done, right? If I'm like a tester joining some company, so even I will be getting the same login page. I have to get some ID and password. I have to log in with that. And then next I have to test what you have developed. Say you are a developer. You have logged in, you have done something, right? And now I have to log in and I have to test your things. Once testing is also done, the next phase will be real users. UAT will be done. I'll talk about that slowly. And after that, production. Production meaning the original bank employee will be logging in and the same login page. He has to log in with some ID and password. Next, whatever we have developed, it must be showing out there and he will use that for registering his customers. This is what the general process happening, right? Okay. So now the point is what type of people are currently logging in into this Pega application? Say a developer will log in and do something. A tester will log in and do something. Maybe a real user will log in and do something. Now I wanted you to answer that what type of people generally log in into this application. Tell me, generally what type of people will be logging in? Say developers will log in. Am I correct? And then testers will log in. So tell me, online people, generally what type of people will be logging in? Developers will log in, no doubt, testers. Then clients and so the real users. The real users will log in. Okay, next. Online people, please unmute and talk. Generally, what type of people will log in into this Pega application? Chapali.
Admins also will work.
What is that?
Admin.
Administrators. Okay. Admins will log in. Okay, next. Next. Business analyst will be logging in. Yes, right? Okay, next. Production support team will log in. Am I correct? Okay, next.
Project
Scrum
manager.
Master also they'll be coming under this. Project
DevOps.
manager. Hmm? Okay, project manager. Fine. Okay, next. Next, Inka. Okay, so the real users are nothing but bank clerks, right? Similarly, the real managers also will log in. So here, project manager and the real manager both are different. Project manager, what he generally does. So he is like a manager for a development team. So where he can log in and he can check what part of development is happening and what is its compliance score and other things. And the real manager and bank managers, they also can log in the application, but they will not do any kind of development related things, right? Okay. So you name any other things, generally it will be coming under these categories only. Now, generally if a developer is logging in today after joining some company as a developer, so your manager will give you ID and password, right? So there will be ID and password, you have to log in. After you log in, what is the next screen generally you get it under? Development Studio. We call it as Development Studio, also called a Designer Studio in some versions of Pega. Okay, so a developer once logging in, they will be getting Dev Studio or Designer Studio. So what a tester will get? What a tester get? Suppose if I'm joining some company as a tester, so I'll get same log URL, same login page. I have to log in with my ID and password. What might be the next screen? Will I get any development related things to be done?
Already implemented.
Already developer implement చేసింది. I have to test. What do you mean by testing? So a real bank employee, if he's like maybe what he's supposed to do, I'll test it. Am I correct? Meaning the real user login is what I'll get. So a tester, once he logging in, output will be a user portal. Am I correct? A user portal is what he'll get. And no doubt, even for the real users, also the same, right? Real users also the same user portal. Okay. So what an administrator does? So servers. Okay. So if I'm like an administrator, if you are a developer, you will log in, you will develop everything. And my major duty is to check for its configurations and check for its listener part or change any server related things or configurational files, whatever it is. So admin studio is what he will get now. Getting my point? So, and admin, Pega admin, once logging in, what is the next screen he gets now? Admin Studio. And in the past versions of Pega, we did not call this as Admin Studio. We have seen something similar called SMA, System Management Application. And in the past versions of Pega, instead of Development Studio, what we used to call Designer Studio. What might be the difference between these two? You'll come to know slowly. Okay. So if a business analyst is logging in, what they'll get? Suppose if I'm BA. So after I logging in, generally what will be my day-to-day tasks center? So I'm supposed to do some background blueprint design. Okay, what my development team has to ultimately do, I have to design one prototype for that. Okay, so I will be taking care of some mockups designing. So you as a developer, you have to design screen number one అనుకోండి. So that mockup or screenshot, I have to give it, right? Meaning I have to design it, right? So designing it and with some simpler options. Maybe if I'm designing the same way and if I'm giving you the screenshot, if you are also designing, what is the point of two times development? So a business analyst can design some kind of UI with some easy options where on click of this button, what should happen and the BA cannot do. So something like so basic draft design is what he can take care of, and some kind of application linking out what they can take care of, some background blueprint or prototype designing. So meaning they are also logging in and doing small part of indirect development, right? And for them, we have one special studio called App Studio in Pega. Getting my point? In Pega, a business analyst will get what? App Studio. Okay. Okay. Now coming to production support team. So if you are like a production support guy, as a bank employee, if I'm facing some issue, I'll drop an email to you. What you guys should do? You guys should log in and check where exactly the issue is, right? So meaning what a developer is doing, indirectly you are also doing the same, right? So you'll be working on incidents. Okay, you'll be working on small hot fixes. So meaning they also will be getting mostly development studio only. Okay, and what about this project manager? So you say project manager or delivery manager, he is taking care of entire development team. So once he is also logging in, he also should get development related things only, no?
Yes.
Meaning Dev Studio is what they have to get. And what about this real manager? So real manager don't know anything about Pega, Java, .NET. He's like an original bank employee.
User.
So the real user and the real bank manager, there will be two type of people generally. So say clerk. Clerk, he is directly dealing with a customer in terms of some registration. And that respective request has to be either approved or rejected by manager, right? So manager has to log in where he will be getting original manager portal. We call this as manager portal, where there will not be any Pega related design. So Pega related screens. Output screen is what he will get. So finally, you name any type of login. No doubt they must be coming under this category. So now development studio here and maybe here and maybe here. Am I correct?
Yes.
So who can access development studio? We call them as authors. We call them as what? Authors. Today, after you joining company, what is the role your manager should give you? Author role. Okay. And whoever is accessing user portal, so they are considered as users in Pega. Even App Studio na kuda kind of author only. And there will be something called admin studio or admin role and manager role. So total, there will be only 4 roles for an Pega login. Total, there will be only 4 roles. What are those 4 ante? Author, admin, user, manager. There will be 4 roles only. If I join like a business analyst, what is the role to be given? If I join like a business analyst, tell me online people. So what is the role we have to get? Same author role only, but inside what studio ante? App Studio. So maybe if I'm like a developer, I still should have author role only, but maybe development studio. And an administrator should be given with admin role. Maybe a real manager should be given with manager role, and user will be given user role, and even a tester also will be given with user role only. So any type of person who is logging into Pega should fall under any of these 4 categories only. And no doubt, a person can act as like more than one role also. Suppose I'm a manager today, you are joining as a developer today. So I want you to work on 6 hours for an development and 2 hours for an business analyst gatherings, requirement gatherings. So what is happening? Maybe you should be, and meaning you are ID, whatever I'm creating now, there must be two roles, maybe author role, something like manager role, just an example. Or a person can be having like more than one role also. So he must be an author in one application, and then he must be like an administrator. He has to take care of some configurations in something application also. And person can be having more than one role also. And for your information, any person, whoever is logging into Pega, so no doubts, every one of us should log in, right? I log in as a developer, you log in as a tester, another person maybe as administrator, another person maybe as a user. Whoever is logging in, technically we call them as operators. Technically, we call them as operator. So today I wanted to create an operator ID for you. I should create an operator ID for you. Then only you can log in. Then only you can proceed. Maybe a different person is joining my company. So I want him to work on testing part. So I will create an operator ID for him and should be given role as user role. So every one of us should be given with an operator ID. Then only we can log in. And then operator ID, what role he is given with, then only he can do the respective actions. So finally, operator ID is what we have to get. So after you joining one company, the very first thing what you have to ask your manager, you have to ask for this development URL. After that, you have to ask for this operator ID creation. So he will create an operator ID and he'll generate a password for you, and he will be background given with author role. Okay, fine. Now, if I simply click on login, as of now, ID and password is something random value what I entered. If I click on login, if it is validated, system will check what is the role set for him in the background. If it is like admin role, okay, or if it is like author role, he must get Dev Studio mostly, and user portal, admin studio, manager portal, right? అవునా కదా? So if I click on login, system has to cross check whether the entered operator ID and password is correct or not. If so, it will check what is the predefined role for him. If it is author role, the next one must be development studio, or next one must be user portal, whatever it is. Okay. So if I enter some dummy ID and password and if I click on login, do you really expect the next screen a valid one? No. So I'm getting some warning or some validation message. So as I yesterday or earlier told you, validations will be of two types. What do you mean by validation first of all? So checking for the data entered, based on which if it is positive, I think it will take in some way, or if it is like negative, I think it will throw some error message. Here validation message is what you are seeing. So as I earlier told you, validations will be of two types. What are those? Huh? Validations. Validation and throwing error messages. It is of two types. Online people, anyone? Client side and
Server side and client side.
server side. So two types of validation, client side validation and server side validation. So here I am seeing some error message or validation message displayed. So what must be this time? Client or server? Server side. So first of all, what do you mean by server ante? So maybe if I click on login, this ID and password is checking in the background reference, and from there it is getting some written value. So it is throwing error message or is it proceeding further. Suppose if I did not enter username and password anything at all, if I simply click on login, earlier I entered dummy values, but now I did not enter any of these things. If I simply click on login, I should get an error saying like first name or username and password cannot be empty. So this type of error message we call it as client level. So it is not checking whether ID and password compared with a database table. It is just checking whether it is having something a value or not. If both are empty, then I might get an error message which must be considered as client level. If I entered something, it must be no doubt validated somewhere in the background referencing. So background referencing and mostly it will be a database table, right? On click of this, it is supposed to check in the database table. For that, one SQL query must be executed and it will check whether ID and password is correct or not, and based on which what is the role defined there if it is author. So if it is author ante, author for what? Suppose I'm a manager, there are like 3 or 4 persons joined my company. I want person 1 to work on credit card application. I want person 2 to work on accounts application. Person 3 a third application. All these 3 are authors. Am I correct? If person 1 is logging in, he must get development studio. In fact, all the 3 should get same development studio only. But person 1, once he is developing, it must be developed for a credit card application, right? Whatever he is drag and dropping, it must be for credit card. Second person, whatever he is doing, it must be for a loans application. Meaning, every operator will be given with some role for some application. I'm an author for credit card, meaning whatever I do, it must be like developed for credit card application only. Okay. Now, after entering username and password and click on submit button, so background lo some OOTB Java code. What do you mean by OOTB?
Okay.
Which is predefined out of the box. So as I told you, on click of this login button, there is something background connection already done. If you remove this button and if you include your own button as part of customization, no use at all. So you may have to write the same Java code. You may have to write same SQL queries. So if you are in a position to write, maybe if you are capable to write, it is not guaranteed that you'll follow the same standards what OOTV is having, right? OOTV and Pega. Pega is having some predefined Java code. So no doubt it will be having with best standards. So your Java code, no doubt it might be with a different number of lines. Suppose if we both are writing Java code, I might be writing with 4 lines, you might be writing with 40 lines also. So we both might get same output, but performance will be different, right? Similarly here also. So we are having some OTP on this login button. On click of this ID and password has to be compared with some referencing table. When SQL query is being executed and it is checking for that, and based on its role and its application name, then it should be proceeding further. If something is not in the happy path, then it will show say server side validation. So this is what you have to. Okay. So for every one of you clear, right? Online people following, right?
Yes, Chandra.
Okay. Say this is my login page or this is my login related. I'll enter some ID and password. As soon as I click on this login button, so background there must be one database table maintaining and it has to check this ID ABC password as 123.
Yes, correct.
It has to cross check in this table. Okay. And there will be something called role also, that is author role, same, and something like application name, say credit card. So system should check ID and password correct or not. So is author role credit card application. System will take him next to development studio. Okay, fine. So no doubt there must be some Java plus SQL, right? So first thing what we have to understand is whenever we are installing Pega, maybe in our personal laptop or in office related or personal related edition which will be running on cloud environments. So whatever it is, background low, a database also will be maintained. And generally a database is nothing but collection of tables. Am I correct? This is table number 1, maybe table 2, table number 3. So finally we are understanding that there will be a table holding all the operator data, right? There must be a table holding all the operator data. There must be a number of records. Out of all these things, few might be developers, few might be testers, few might be real users, managers, whatever it is. Whoever is logging in this Pega, they are operators. There must be a valid record in this operator related table. So there will be a database. There will be 500 plus tables by default. So out of which there is like one single table holding operator data. And for your information, the database name is Pega data. Okay, try to understand. So for every Pega project, there will be a predefined database and its name will be every time Pega data only, Pega data. Say I'm your interviewer. So in your resume, you're mentioning that there are four projects. Project one, something on client one, city client. Okay, so maybe you worked on Bank of America project, you worked on some healthcare project, you worked on some retail project, whatever it is. So if I ask you what is the database used in Bank of America project, so I see some people saying it as Oracle. We used Oracle for that. And what did you use it into project two? And some people saying like MongoDB. And some people say like PGSQL. Some people will say like something Microsoft SQL, whatever it is. So I asked you what is the database your four projects are using. Maybe if you are saying four different names, then you did not understand my question correctly. Okay. So whatever you said like Oracle or Mongo or whatever, these are like DB environments. These are something a platform to check for the original data. So Pega data is your original database name. If you worked in city project, background your database name will be Pega data only. So later you worked on something like Bank of America project. So it will be having one database and its name is also Pega data. Everywhere a Pega project will have database name as Pega data, Pega data, Pega data only. Maybe few clients, say city client, might be accessing this whole project or whole database using an environment called Oracle. So Oracle is generally most trusted. So clients has to purchase this Oracle software separately. And whatever the Pega data, that's connection and username password, if it is linking here, any person logging in into this URL, they can access database Pega data and n number of tables. So this is just a platform. Suppose if I send you some data in Notepad unquoted, I have a Notepad and I'm just sending it to you in WhatsApp or maybe via email. So some guys, what they'll do is they'll try to open that and cross check, meaning the same Notepad platform they're using to see the data. And few people might be using Notepad plus plus. What is happening? The same data they're visualizing with different platform. Few people might be opening with Word document. Right click, open as Word document. So Word document is one platform to access internal data. Few might try accessing it from Microsoft Excel also. Few might accessing it from PDF or maybe something like Sublime or different editors are there. All these are what? Some third party platforms to access our data. Similarly, a Pega project every time will be having Pega data only. And maybe project to project, these environments might be changing out. So today, if anyone is asking you what is our database name, you have to say this one. Inside there might be some collection of tables and there will be one dedicated table holding operator related data. Now on click of this, no doubt one SQL query is hitting this table. And for your information, so the table name here is PR underscore operator. So you have to remember this. So our database name is Pega data and inside what is the table holding operator related ante? Yeah. Tell me online people, what is the table name? Yeah. PR underscore operators. Okay. So this is what our tables name is. Fine. Now, as I anyway told you, there will be n number of tables, right? Say 500 tables, out of which most of the tables will be having prefixes as either with PR. Can you see PR as the prefix for this? And few tables will be having PC as the prefix. And few tables will be having PR4 as the prefixes. And there will be some other prefixes also, that is index dash, assign dash, embed dash. So these are like miscellaneous. So most of the tables under this Pega data will be having prefixes as either as PR or PC or PR4. In interviews, they'll straight away ask you what is like significance of we having PR as the prefix for this table. Maybe what is significance of PC related tables? What is significance of PR4? So why operator table is having PR only as the prefix? Will it be having any problem if I change the prefix? So this is what they'll ask you. You'll clearly understand these things slowly. Okay, now let me ask you one more scenario. Let me tell you one more scenario. Say after I logging in now as a developer, I'll get development studio, right? So using which I'll try to drag and drop or design some scripts. Say my client requirement is to design screen number one. Screen number one. In screen number one, generally we'll be collecting customer first name, last name, age, mobile number, and other stuff, right? So there must be one drop down to show country also. So country wise, there might be 200 countries. Okay. So showing all these 200 countries manually, it is not that simple. So what our client or manager will suggest is in our Pega data, there will be anyway n number of tables. Create a new table for country holding all the country names. So whenever the screen number one is loading, this drop down should run one SQL query with this table and get back all the list of countries showing out. This is what the requirement we have to work on. Now, if I'm creating a new table in this discussion, what will be the prefix it will get? So for your information, it will be having PR as the prefix. So why this customized table? This is the table what I created for my own requirement, right? So why our table is having PR as the prefix? And then what type of tables we see PC? What type of tables we see PR4? Okay, so this will be something connected discussion going on. But now, for now, so concluding statement is PR operators is one table holding all the operator data. And no doubt there must be something columns here, right? So this column should be holding operator ID 1, maybe second operator ID, third operator ID, fourth operator ID, if you are like operators, we are like testers, whatever. So the primary column for this is hmm, say this is Pega data. And this is PR operators table. Okay, and the primary column for this is PY user identifier. I'll ask you all these things in tomorrow's class again. So PY user identifier. So maybe Chandra 123. So Rahul 234, whatever it is. All these might be operator IDs. So the primary key here is what? PY user identifier. And something like PY access group. So something like developer or something like tester, whatever it is. PX application name. So loans application, credit card application, whatever it is. So what I'm trying to give you on an overview is generally a tables will be having either PR or PC or PR4 as the prefixes, and for a particular table the column names generally will be PX or PY or PZ. Understand? So inside a single table, generally column names starts with either PX or PY or PZ. And a table generally starts with PR or PC or PR4. So this is what the thing what we have to finally understand. Fine. Now in this Pega related discussion, if I click on login, it is supposed to hit this table and getting back some result, right? So maybe author, admin, whatever it is. If it is author, next screen will be something. If it is user, I think next something, whatever. It is redirecting according to that. And here, this type of authentication. So whatever login page based on which background authentication is happening, this type of authentication, we call it as basic authentication. If I ask you what is basic authentication indeed, so checking it for our Pega data PR operators table, so we call it as basic authentication. And some scenarios where we are supposed to hit other tables and come back. So I'll give you one simple and understandable example for you. Say you are working in TCS. You can access TCS internal portals, right? Where you can access its mailbox also. Say webmail.tcs.com Online guys, everyone following, right? Please confirm me.
Yes, Chandra.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Say I have, yeah, so I'm trying to log in via URL. So webmail.tcs.com. So what generally you'll get? It will ask you for some ID and password, right? So you'll enter your employee ID and you'll enter your password. Now on click of login button, what is your expectation? Next screen must be showing like inbox. Okay, where you have to get all the mails, whatever it is. That is what our output requirement. So what is happening on click of this button, it is cross checking in its database table where employee ID and password everything correct or not, then it is redirecting, else it will throw some validation message, basic common sense money. But these days, so I'm calling this as, we are calling this as basic type of authentication. But these days basic authentication is not that used. So there is something different thing also. That is same in this TCS application. I entered my ID and password. Next, immediately onto my mobile phone. Yeah. So there will be an app, say Microsoft Authenticator app. So if I click on this or if I open this app, I'm supposed to click on either approve or reject, right? Or there might be one OTP number generated I may have to enter, or if I click on approve, so mostly I'll be getting this inbox. So what is happening? So I'm part of like TCS. My entered employee ID and password will be in TCS database generally, but now Microsoft is coming into picture. So is Microsoft part of TCS? And no, no. So what is happening? So this entered ID and password is now shared to Microsoft data server team, data entity, right? And there they're cross-checking whether this ID and password is correct or not. If then they're giving me one authenticator related screen or code generated, and on approval, Microsoft is giving one positive response and TCS is proceeding further. Am I correct? So this inward is like this screen number one is TCS related, output is also TCS related, but just in terms of authentication, it is not just checking in the TCS database, it is checking for something like external authentication. So this is something third party which is nowhere connected to TCS. So likewise, there are like third parties such providers, Microsoft, Okta. So these are all like famous third party data entities. So what is this doing ante? So the respect to TCS data is managed into Microsoft servers. So is this not a security breach ante? No. So here Microsoft here will be managing all the data in encrypted mode. So no one from Microsoft team can access this data visually. They cannot see it. So whole data will be completely end-to-end encrypted. And this ID and password, whatever I click on, this is to be shared with this Microsoft. And there internally, this input and password also will be encrypted, and it will be checking in the encrypted data. And if it is validated, it will give back some response as positive. Else, it will not. It will cancel it. Understood, right? So this type of authentication. So logging in into this respect to one, this type of authentication we call it as external authentication. For external authentication, providers can be Microsoft or Okta, whatever it is. And between this application one and application two, both are two different applications. Am I correct? Yes. As I told you, if application one is to be connected to application two, it must be happening via web services. Okay, via web services. So here, Microsoft is the service provider, or also called upstreams. Okay, so this is downstream. So TCS is requesting with some input and output. This is validating and giving some response. So this type of web services generally can be done with LDAP. Okay, OAuth, SAML, likewise. There will be some OOTP service providers. So where provider will be handling that. Okay, you'll understand all these things slowly. So this we call it as external type of authentication. Okay, suppose very small example. Say if you are joining or if you are working as a developer in TCS, you will be given with some laptop, right? Laptop or desktop or whatever it is. And then you will be assigned with some client IDs. So there will be one client ID generated for you. Every day you have to log in with client ID. In my laptop, So once my Windows is starting out, so it will show me to log in. So I'm trying to log in with my client ID. Am I correct? So it's not my personal laptop. So Windows itself is having my client ID connections. So I'll try to enter my client ID and I'll try to enter my password. Then I'll be entering into, meaning SSO is happening, single sign-on is happening. And once this single sign-on is happening, all the internal things I can happily access. Okay, so I'm just trying to go with external. My client city is now connected to Microsoft. If I just log in now, so this is like external authentication and that to single sign-on. Single sign-on is happening. Okay, that is just a small example. Okay, and here after you joining company, you might be getting this URL to proceed further, right? So you will be entering ID and password. It might be checking in your operators table. That is basic authentication might be there. Or it might be sent as an input to third party service providers and they will give us some response and based on which authentication might happen. So here your Pega application is it using internal అంటే basic authentication or external authentication అనేది you can identify by just looking at this URL. So can you see this URL showing up? Yes, right. As I told you, instead of localhost, everything will be same. Localhost name, no, you'll see something like ctdev, whatever it is. So here you'll see something called PR servlet. If you are seeing it as PR servlet, then you should consider yourself that it is running on a basic type of authentication. Adhamayanda? So if I just enter my ID and password, what it is trying to do, it is running one SQL query to hit PR operators table. It is checking in my boring operators table, nothing much. Fine. So if it is via external అయితే what might be the keyword here అంటే that is PR op. So you can understand this, right? PR op. Suppose if I hit on this button, so you can see same login page. Am I correct? But if you understand, this whole URL is changed. So it was showing something like short length. Now can you see it is like something bigger? Yes. And it is again redirecting to the same login page. Now if I enter some ID and password, what it has to cross check? It will cross check. Now it is enabled with external. So in the background, you may have to link this third party service. If you did not do that, it will again check it in the basic table only. So it has the capability now to check with external. So you are supposed to go for something external authentication and proceed further. So this is what you have to understand. So finally, today's class recapping it is you should first know how are we getting this login page. So for that, you have to go for manual installation in our personal editions prospect. So this every one of you should do by tomorrow's class. So today I'll give you that link. For most of you got it. If not, you just message me. So you'll be getting that link and downloading steps related video also. So you just follow all the steps and finally one URL server running out and URL generation happens and you'll get this login page. And from here in the real time, everything is same. So this background process itself will be changing out. Okay. That is one thing what we understood. And next we understood something about like whoever is logging into Pega. What are they called? Whoever is logging into Pega, we call them as
Operator.
what?
Operator.
Operators. Operators. And you know how many type of operators are also there? Developer, user managers, whatever it is, whoever is logging, their operators. And you should even understand what will be the roles of operators also. A developer, what role should be given? A tester, what role should be given? Maybe a administrator, what role should be given? And an operator ID, how to give for 3 or 4 roles also, you'll come to know maybe tomorrow's or next sessions. So that is one thing. And you understood something about like backend related discussion. That is what is like database name and what will be our tabular names and what will be its prefixes and what will be its column prefixes and why are we getting this as a particular prefix. Okay, that also will come to slowly. And something about like internal and external authentications. Okay, so tomorrow we'll understand what is there after we logging in. So I'll just log in tomorrow. Okay, we have to create operator IDs, right? So we'll just log in and then we'll see how actually Pega tool will be. So if it is like development studio, how the screens will be. So what options we'll see for drag and dropping. So maybe after I drag and dropping, how to get the output. So maybe in this process, how to use OOTB part or how to go for my own customized part. Once we got the output, how to create an operator ID for a tester, how they have to log in, how they'll just check the output, how they'll record use stories. Okay, scenarios, or maybe after which how a real user will get it. Everything connectedly will discuss something from zero to most advanced level. So every point it will be interlinked and everything you have to very clearly understand. So my sincere suggestion is to practice everything on daily basis. Okay. So that's it for today's session. Clear every one of you? Any
Yes,
doubts?
sir.
Any questions? Clear, right?
Yes.
Chandra, we have installed the Pega and we can see the login page. So is
Hmm.
there any generic credentials or are we doing it?
That's what that will be the discussion in tomorrow's session. Okay. So tomorrow we'll understand how to log in and then we'll understand how to create new applications. Maybe if we wanted to create new operator IDs for some other team members, how to do that. Okay, so that will be tomorrow's session discussion. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay then. Thank you, Rami.